Hey, pretentious engineer here. I know you didn't ask, but if you've never had the misfortune of dealing with bed bugs, I figured I could share a couple tips about how you find them and how you kill them and what we had to navigate because honestly, it was like one of the most traumatic, challenging things our family ever had to go through. So basically, for those of you who don't know, like we now live in Japan, but we relocated 12 times over the course of 1 year to try to get to Japan. Part of this was heavily impacted by COVID, but the other heavy impact was bed bugs. So we sold our house in around June of 2021. We thought we'd be able to relocate quickly to Japan, but the border stayed closed because of the Delta variant. And during that time, we moved into a small furnished apartment. It was a two-bedroom. We had three kids. It was crazy. And, after about 3 weeks, I had a lot of bites and things that I couldn't really identify as mosquitoes that were strange. And I'd mentioned to my wife, like, hey, I'm kind of concerned about bed bugs, but I don't know, and we just kind of kept talking about it, and she had kind of overlooked it. We overlooked it. I was out with my daughter, and then Felicia started looking like underneath the sheets of the furnished apartment, and she found these little bugs, and they have like big red butts, like because they're filled with blood. And she's like, "You gotta come back, and we gotta figure this out." And we called maintenance. We started navigating it. It was a mess. Like you have to go through every single item in your house, and you have to throw it in the dryer on hot, wash it, put it back in the dryer, bag it, and basically we had both of our bathtubs were just filled with bags of anything. A lot of items we ended up putting in our car because it was really hot, and that helps kind of roast them and cook them. There's a lot of things we just threw away because we weren't sure if we could salvage it or keep it. We had to move into a hotel and then Chicago family back into a hotel. And during that time, the house went through 2 rounds of extermination before we moved back in. So we were displaced for about a month and a half. The extermination is super thorough. Like they tore apart the bed. They have to get behind the vents. They had to check that other units didn't have an infestation. Like super traumatic, super difficult. And honestly, it wasn't even like the worst possible bed bugs infestation, but it was enough that it was significant. It was a lot of work to navigate that all amidst a global relocation because our family was living out of suitcases in that unit. It's absolutely awful. So never anything like that where they're just pouring out of the walls, but it feels that way. They were infested in the couch, in the beds. Our kids were getting bit. It takes you a while to orient to what's going on and figure out the best path through it. So very hard, and be very careful, especially when you sleep at new places. But anyway, friends, you could sip on that.